In a big relief for India's third largest telecom operator, Vodafone-Idea, the Supreme Court today had permitted the government to reconsider the adjusted gross revenue, the AGR dues demand raised by the Department of Telecommunications. Remember, viewers, this petition was filed by Vodafone Idea last month, wherein it had challenged DOT's additional demand worth rupees 9,450 crores, which was raised by the department till FY19. Of the 9,450 crore demand which was raised by the Department of Telecommunication, rupees 5,600 crores of those demands pertains to 2016 period. Petition. This is why Vodafone Idea had challenged this in the Supreme Court earlier. Welcome to Live Mint. I, Jatin Grover, along with our legal correspondent Krishna Yadav, are going to tell our viewers what exactly is the AGR case which was heard in the Supreme Court and what are the reliefs which have been given, which might come for Vodafone Idea later. So, viewers, what are AGR dues? AGR, adjusted gross revenue, represents a portion of the telecom operator's revenue which is to be paid as regulatory fees to the government. This is currently at 8% of the AGR, means the regulatory dues are 8% of the AGR, which means 5% of that 8% goes to the Digital Bharat Nidhi Fund, which is the erstwhile Universal Services Obligation Fund of the government to bridge the digital divide, and 3% pertains to the license fee, which brings the amount of regulatory levies to 8% of the adjusted gross revenues. And the case pertains to the miscalculations, or as per the telecom operators, there has been some miscalculations by the government, or there should be some reassessment of the dues. So these were the broader arguments. Krishna, so you can tell us what all happened in the Supreme Court today, and then of course we'll bring it up, we'll pick it up from there.
Thank you, Jatin, for summarizing the context of the whole situation in the case very beautifully. So basically, today's hearing has came before the bench of Chief Justice B.R. Gavai and Justice K. Vinod Chandran, who hearing this case. So today in the hearing, from the DOT and the government, the Tushar Mehta Solicitor General has appeared, and from the side of the Vodafone, as usual, the Mukul Rohatgi, who has been appearing for Vodafone in this case for long, he's appeared, right? So, start of the hearing, the Solicitor General of Tushar Mehta told the Supreme Court that he said the same point said in the last hearing also, that the circumstances had changed and that they are willing to have the Vodafone. And during the hearing only, the Tushar Mehta has submitted a proposal to the bench of the Chief Justice in the K. Vinod Chandran. Of course, we don't know what's there in the proposal, but one of the point is there, which is already there in the public domain, that the government already own 49% of the stakes in the Vodafone Idea, right? And other reliefs the government want to give to Vodafone, which is there in the proposal. So the fine details of the proposal not there. Even it's not given to the Mukul Rohatgi, who in the hearing appeared from the overseas, right? So after hearing this proposal, after seeing this proposal, Chief Justice has ordered that they'll not come in between the government and the Vodafone because it's a policy matter and the court will not interfere in that. And they allowed government to take all the matches and solve the grievances of the Vodafone, right? After that, the Mukul Rohtaki from the Vodafone also kind of showed satisfaction, right? That he's also happy with the Tushar Mehtas and the government helping them. And finally, the case has been disposed of. Basically, this particular petition was filed in a particular manner, has been disposed of. This case has been closed, right, for this particular petition. But the Supreme Court has clarified that this case is not is only restricted to this particular petition, which is the seeking some waiver on the additional AGR dues. It will not have an impact on the overall AGR case, so which the viewer should have to take a notice that it will not have a bearing if the Vodafone the Airtel files the petition subject to the next day. That will be heard separately in a different context. So the Vodafone's case is but it's restricted to the political circumstances in the facts of this case. And major part of the hearing was the Solicitor General's repeat saying that the 20 crore consumers of the Vodafone, right, which is whose interest should be in the parity, should become in the prioritize the interest of the consumers. So noting that all that, the case have allowed the Supreme Court allowed the the government to help the Vodafone as whatever they want, in a way they have want to help.
So, if we look at Vodafone Idea from a larger context and how this verdict, is going to help the company, I think Vodafone Idea, in its earlier petition, had said that it won't be able to survive without the government support after this
Mhm.
financial year, and the moratorium of for in 2021, when the moratorium on these AGR payments were given to the telecom sector, so that moratorium is going to end this year, and the payments for that will start in March 2026. Of that will be around 18,000 odd crore payment yearly, which will start for Vodafone Idea. So they had specifically said that beyond this financial year, without the government's relief, they're not going to get the bank debts, bank funding from the banks, and of course they're not going to survive. So in a way, now this paves way for the government to check for what all relief they can give to the company. The relief can be anything, maybe an extension of moratorium, further extension of moratorium
Yeah.
beyond the current one. It can be maybe government relaxing or maybe withdrawing some of the penalties and interest on penalties, which has been under ask by the Vodafone Idea Group, also in this case. So in a way, it's positive for the company. We've seen the stock price of the company Zoom today. It surged 10% when we are recording this video. So that in a way is seen positive by the investors, by everyone here. And of course, like you also pointed out, 200 million, the 20 crore
Yeah. Twenty
US of
crore
Vodafone,
contribution. Yeah.
which was
Yeah.
also mentioned in the Supreme Court, and 18,000 employees, which Vodafone
Yeah.
Idea
Yeah.
has.
I think they
And of
mentioned the
course,
petition. 18 crore.
correct. And of course,
Yeah.
to maintain a three private player plus one government telecom operator in the sector, it's very essential, if we have these four kind of operators in the sector. So that
Mm.
could allay some of those concerns once the government will come up with certain, any kind of measures that
Mm.
should be soon expected. And this also clears the legal hurdles for the government, because earlier the government was also of the constraint that if the Supreme Court has said that they, it's a Supreme Court matter earlier. When we look at the earlier judgments, the government hands were bound in a way that they couldn't do
Mm.
anything. Now this judgment, the Supreme Court saying that they won't be. It's a policy matter. That only paves way for the company to have something from the government. We can expect something
Mm.
from the government very soon. And of course, to the point on the overall sector, how
Mm.
we see this. Of course, Bharti Airtel, which is again a big player in the sector, they had also requested the government for more equity conversion, and in earlier petitions we've seen that they had also asked the government for reconsidering the AGR dues, because this case is a decade or case, more than decades, right? More than a decade.
Mm.
So then, in a way, whether the government will consider any relief for Bharti Airtel, then that has to be seen, because the company here in the question is Vodafone Idea. The survival concerns are
Absolutely.
for Vodafone Idea, and Bharti Airtel
Definitely
being
different.
in a strong
Yeah.
cash flow position, right? So both the circumstances here are different at the moment. So that will be seen, how the government views Bharti Airtel as well, whether any relief which they'll come up with will be for the sector only or for the specific company. That will have to be seen.
But I
So
think
that's
whenever any other telecom company approach Supreme Court on this issue, I think they can take this policy thing, which is the Supreme Court said today. It's a policy matter, right? So lawyers of that company also can leverage on this point. Basically, despite the circumstances of the companies are different, but I mean, if you see, they can definitely leverage this point. And it's not the first time the Supreme Court, even in the May, when the companies went to Supreme Court for the waiver, if you see that, right, AGR on the final petition, Justice Partriwala were hearing this at that time. He also said that if government want to help, will not come in the way, right? That was widely reported at that time. The Supreme Court rejected the petition, but while during the in a verbal thing, they have said, the Justice Partriwala have said they will not come in the way if you want to help. But the government have said, because of the judgment, we can't help.
correct. Correct. That is true.
Yeah.
And of course, there's a question of level playing field. Vodafone Idea as competitor and peer, Bharti Airtel could raise that if you're giving relief to Vodafone Idea, why not,
Yeah,
Bharti Airtel?
definitely.
In
Yeah.
that sense, it is to be seen, if Airtel, suppose say, would want to go to the court, and seek a similar kind of a relief from the
Mm,
court and the government, that
mm,
has to be looked at. Or the government can take this case as a precedence, and
mm,
think that this is a policy matter, and that the relief could be for the sector as well, like we've seen in the 2021 reforms, wherein the moratorium were given to the sector for 4 years to make the AGR payments. We have seen that many of the operators, like suppose Bharti Airtel has cleared a lot of these dues, and now Vodafone Idea is only the player. At that point, Bharti Airtel also chose, a moratorium for 4 years, that they can, have the payments not paid. They won't be able to pay the payments maybe in one go. They would want to stretch it over a 4 year period. Vodafone Idea at that point in time converted, had also chosen the option of equity conversion, means some of the dues of the government, the interest, basically the 16,000 odd crore interest, which was the first converted by the government into equity, and then now this conversion, again a conversion which happened recently, I think around 39,000 odd crores, overall of 50,000 odd crore conversion the government had done with a 49% stake in the company. I think that is what is to be seen in that context, because of course the government had rightly pointed out that, you know 200 million consumers, and the
mm,
government has a huge stake. They won't, let the company in that situation wherein it loses its relevance in the market. I
mm,
think that's how it sums up the verdict today. Will have to
mm,
be seen how and when the government comes up with sort of these reliefs for the operator or for the sector. Will this issue, I think, is a ongoing issue, and will
yes.
keep our viewers and readers updated on the same, on as on when this happens. So thank you for joining us at Live Mint. This is us signing off. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jatin.